This is dangerous. Hello, 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 and welcome to another Daily Code Fun. I am One Lion, and you are all amazing. Thank you for being here. I really enjoy having all of your energy here. Those of you that are only passively here, those of you that are actively here, you are all greatly appreciated. I finally made it over a massive hurdle. Yay! I will show this very, very shortly. My. Is everything cleaned up? Do we know what monitor this thing is about to display? Yes, the right one. Okay. Welcome. I finally got to a point where my chatbot will see.
I got a bad feeling about this.
Oh, except that Bob Ross and DC Aggie just wrote. But anyway, my chatbot finally is able to detect redemptions, which means that now I can start doing channel point redemptions and get the data inside of my bot and do stuff with it for things such as in paying points to add a command, taking you somewhere. That's going to be, yeah, there it is. Wait, apparently it doesn't show up here. Oh no, am I missing a meeting? I just had a whole bunch of reminder sounds go off. I don't think I'm missing any meetings. What was that sound? I got email, but I also heard my reminder sound go off. That's scary. I hope I'm not missing any meetings. I guess I would find out. You know what? I could give you all the tools to completely troll me. I know that a lot of viewers find that entertaining and fun. I could give you all tools to troll me. And if you want to drive my anxiety levels through the roof and make me hide under my desk, I will give you a redemption sound for email reminder or for meeting reminder. My heart just sank about 30 feet below sea level, which is crazy because I'm a mile up. Oh. Anyway, we're good. We're good. No meetings. So my bot is gonna get smart. You can also see here that it tells me that I'm authorized because apparently, as I mentioned before, the access token that I need to be able to listen to channel redemptions is actually a user access token, and I was just super duper confused on how to get a user access token. When my bot is running on the server, I can show that flow sometime in the future, but I want to clean it up first. But it was so difficult for me to wrap my head around this whole click on this link, it redirects you to a different URL, and then that will redirect you back to some URL in your app that's actually a get. I thought it was going to be a post to a controller endpoint, but it's just a regular old get. You know, I really could put that get endpoint in the controller though. But what I'm doing though, actually, you know what? I'm going to show this. And hello, Dukasoft, you're not late. You're always on time. Bob Ross said, I just completed my first order on Fiverr. Just waiting for the buyer to respond and confirm the payment. Awesome. Congratulations, Baba Rosso. Let us actually stop the app because otherwise it'll stay connected. Cool. I stop the app. I restart the app. So no bot currently. It runs. And here goes the likewise science. Again, another massively fun stream. I don't like spiders. so I wasn't paying too close attention. But another massively fun stream last night. My bot doesn't do hats. Although I might make a hat command and make it do something interesting. I'm also going to have hidden commands. And like I said on Finite's channel, so if you guys don't know Finite as well, he's streaming currently and is also a really fun streamer. I'll get some shout outs going here very shortly once I connect here. Geez, I was going to talk through that. But anyway, you saw it. It took me to a different page. You know what? I'm going to restart it. And of course, what I'm going to do, at least for my local version of the app, is I'm going to have it store my access token locally, my access and refresh token locally. So if I've already authenticated once and authorized this thing to connect to Twitch, it will just reuse the refresh token to get a new token. And then if it can't get a new token, then it'll do this whole auth-flow. So this thing is just a link. If you can see at the bottom of the screen, a link. Yeah, this is the bot app. And the thing that I was able to do very easily was connect to chat. That was super fast. I finished that in a day or two. The hard one was getting my bot to listen to redemptions. That was really hard. And I just finished it last night. When I click on connect to Twitch, it will redirect to this URL. I was thinking maybe I can just open it in a new tab, because it doesn't really matter if that is running in this current running app, because all of my resources should be shared. So anyway, I click that, redirects me to this URL. Then it says I got authorized. I sent the code back that they sent me, and it was able to get an access token for the pub sub. So now the website that I have, or not the website, the channel that I have access to do pub sub stuff to, I will be able to connect to. And it will do all of my pub sub stuff. But let's say that I'm trying to connect to someone else's chat, or I want to try to do a pub sub type thing, so like Finite. Then we will get an error that says bad auth, because I don't have authorization with my bot to listen to his chat for redemptions using my user access token, which makes sense. So that was hard for me to learn, but I learned it. We'll go ahead and leave his channel though. Oh yeah. Wait, that one you can see right here. Reward redeemed sound alerts kids yay by Dukasoft. And the weird thing is that showed up in my pub sub log. So that's something that I hadn't looked at yet. But the only thing that came through, I'm not in the bot. Go to the bot. I want an audio clip that says Duka Duka, like Pokemon. Duka 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 Duka. So yeah, I want to announce this because it sounds like DC Aggie is looking for some online co-op play, or just online play, I guess. Could be competitive for anyone that enjoys playing the Mario Karts and has it. What platform do you have it for? Or can you do cross-platform multiplayer on Mario Kart? But on occasion, he's looking for someone to play with on his stream. He was asking yesterday on the Switch. I don't even own a Switch. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. And then he was also trying to consider which platform to get the Killer Clowns game, the new one that's coming out. That's based off of it's a show, right? You know what? Just do that. So I don't like this because I'm checking to see if Twitch client is null or not connected. And if it is null or not connected, then we don't do anything. And by the time we get here, the Twitch client should be null. So you know what? Or it should be not null. I'm gonna... You should know that. I still have a lot of stuff to do here. So like renewing my my access token based off of the refresh token would be one thing. So here, instead of just checking for this, I would need to see if pub sub token dot or expires in. So what expires in looked like just a regular old int, and it didn't seem like it was something that counts down. It was like a specific point in time, so maybe I need to convert that to a time, in which case they really named it wrong. It should not be expires in. It should be called either expiry or expires on. In my opinion. In my opinion. It's based off of a movie. So yeah, he was what I was saying was DC Aggie was considering whether to which platform to get it on, because he likes playing it on console, he likes the controls, he likes being able to play it on his TV, etc. But PC is more accessible to, well, something. I can't remember why PC was even on your list, because it sounds like you still prefer console gaming over PC. But the main consideration that it sounds like he's making is, can he do multiplayer with, for example, his brother or other people easily if he gets it on one of the specific platforms. So we're still doing some UI design, I think. UI filling in, UI sketching, UI work, UI. I got words. First, we need to navigate to the folder. Wasm. I don't know why I started at the top. I could have just went backwards. I always forget. Oh, yes, I do. Because I keep switching back and forth between my work product, which I have a folder called API, and that's the application that I launch, versus here, where I'm launching the Wasm project that stayed in its own folder. Okay, so this is what we have so far. Let's compare it to our design while we're looking at this. Welcome everyone who has not seen this yet. This is the Financial Management Tracker application. I really will share this design soon once I figure out how to do it. But here's our initial thoughts and design for this, as well as the GitHub for the project. Ooh. The command worked. Thank you so much, Dukasoft. Very, 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 very helpful. That's this one. Oh yeah, and the bot will be public very soon. As soon as well, I can't say very soon. I can say soon TM, but that all depends on how long it takes me to refactor the code and clean it up, because it looks like bupkis right now. But this is the project itself that talks about what we want this app to do, and some initial design choices that we've made. Soon TM is good enough for me. Thank you, Dukasoft. You can find this channel here and then the YouTube channel there, where I'm posting all of the videos that we've been streaming 24 hours after the stream. And from there, we did all of that whiteboarding design where we weren't even touching code. We were just coming up with some brainstorming ideas, maybe sketching out the data. Then we created the database and, well, the GitHub project and the database, added some models to it, sketched out the UI, and now we are trying to style the UI to match our design. So this was our design. We had 3 options that we were kind of going back and forth between. I was going back and forth between. And I am definitely open to any better options, better choices, better opinions for what to do with these. But right now, this is kind of what I've settled on and the direction that we've been going through this. And so this is what that currency looks like. Maybe, yeah. I think I want to do that. I want to keep this, the title plus the login form, confined to the middle, but I still want the hero section to take up the entire width of the page. I just need some cool stuff, I think, for this white space. White space is good, in my opinion, but too much white space, not so much. And then this is what we came up with for the data entry page, the first payment details data entry page. And then we're going to have one for the deposits and one for the transfers. So I'm going to change this functionality a bit. We're going to call this page data entry, and then we're going to have 3 different data entry forms instead of 3 data entry pages, since they're all going to use this structure essentially, and the only thing that I'll be switching out is the form itself. So let's do that real quick in the UI. Probably this one. So let's create a data entry, Blazor. I'm going to copy this, make a data entry, and have this thing. Wait, did I just copy the CSS file? I meant to copy the SAS file, please. Don't give me no sass. And keep your hands to yourself. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and compile this. So that'll generate our CSS files for the isolated CSS for this data entry page. Now let's split this up. Our data entry page is going to have all of this structure. I think I'm going to go with this structure. And this is going to be page data dash entry, data dash entry. And we will also have a version of the page that is data entry that takes the entry type. And you'll see what that is shortly. Hello, Disco. That was fun to say. Saying your name is fun. What is it, Diego? Can you see the different button in the top? It was autocorrect that fixed his name to Diego instead of Disco. I was thinking you were doing some kind of Dora reference. Dora and Diego. That's funny. My bag. We're gonna do well, we need to create that entry type real quick. So I'm gonna make a code block because that's generally how I start this. It's a lot easier for me to do a code block first, and then when it gets to that point where I want to put it in the code behind file, I'll move it. But at least for this initial setup, I'm gonna put that here because I'm gonna start with an enum, and that enum is going to be the, what did I call this? Entry type. And that entry type is going to be one of payments, deposits, transfers, Oracle's Cloud Offering, OCI, F minus. Cannot recommend, end rant. I've never tried it. I never tried it. Wait, I don't have any 8,000 lines of code files. Not in this project. I do have some in other projects, but not this one. I've done a better job of decoupling and componentizing, and please tell me that I've done a good soon, TM. Coming up in the next video, an 8,000 line file. We're going to need to get this entry type parameter here, publice. So let's get an entry type, which is going to be nullable. Actually, it's not going to be nullable. It's going to be defaulted to entry type dot payments. That way, when we come to this page without, it's just that we have an enclosing type. I'll go ahead and move this to the correct structure, which I have in my shared. All right, I have a question, and this is an honest, earnest, for real question. I have this situation where I am trying to fully decouple my UI from any hard implementations of models. That said, my interfaces, I know that for my actual models themselves, I can just create interfaces for those. Like I can have an iDeposit view model, iLine item view model and stuff. But what do I do with my enums? Do I go ahead and specify those enums inside of my interfaces project? That's a really difficult thing for me to know where to put that. And if I do that, then should I call my interfaces project something else to be more concise about the types of things you can find inside of this project? Because the only dependency that I want my UI to have is on the interfaces project and maybe the localization. No, not even the localization. I'm sorry. I have an interface for localization, and then yeah. So you can see that I have, where is it? Oh, right. Just it's because of the way that I do localization in this project versus the other one. So DC Aggie knows exactly what I'm talking about. He's like, been there. If you can figure out a good place to put the enums, please let me know. Yeah, it's almost like that is one feature the C# lang is. It's not even that it's missing, because what else would you do with it? You can't create an interface for entry type enum. Yeah. That's a hard one. So the only other thing that I can imagine doing is for my models that use an enum, I could do something like let's say that this thing had an entry type on it. Instead of doing entry type, I could do T entry type and have that be a type parameter on here. And then when I, and of course this would be my interface version of it. When I implement this, then it would be an I-line item view model of where T entry type is an enum, I-line item view model of that actual entry type enum. You would put it in the domain model. But that's the thing, I'm trying to completely separate my UI from the domain. And if my UI is using that enum, then I would have a dependency on the domain. This almost looks like a good approach. What would the issues be with this? Let's say that we're testing. Then the testing library would use whatever shared models are actually created, the implementation. My spidey senses always tell me there is probably a good object-oriented OOP alternative to enums that let me comply with open close principle, but I'm not sure what it would be. The only thing that I could imagine would be a const in that case. So either a static class, like an interface that would be implementing, or a static class that would be implementing my interface, where each of the entries in that interface are either static int or const. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I wouldn't want to make a whole class for this when it's going to be lightweight as just an enum. So yeah, I'm thinking I'm gonna try it. I kind of got hounded in a meeting with the project lead a little bit for doing certain things. I don't know. I don't really know what it was about. Not gonna lie, I'm still confused by that conversation. It may be a little bit affected, but I don't know. I think we would benefit from experimenting with that and seeing if it's a good approach. But if anyone, Disco, if you could if you felt like it and you are available to, I don't want to interrupt your time, especially if you don't feel like typing right now. Maybe expand on putting it in the domain project. So for me, my domain project is essentially this shared server and shared projects. These house the majority of my business logic, with the interface being the bridge between my UI and my backend that will point to those. So for now, for this project, I'm going to put the enum inside of my interfaces folder and then maybe come up with a different name for that. I'm not even done viewing my OCP course. Don't ask me, what is OCP? I don't think I'm familiar with OCP. Oregon Catholic Press. Exactly. Open Compute Project. Open-close principle. The thing that DC Aggie already mentioned. So I don't know what the open-close principle is. It's the O in solid. Yeah, so it's becoming apparent to me that I really need to, at least if I want to continue conversing with you guys in any kind of intelligible way, I need to understand the full concept of solid principle. So I'm familiar with it. I have an idea of like single responsibility. I don't know what OCP really is. Um, but it sounds like it's just a way to make sure that everything is extensible but not modifiable. In which case, if I did it with that first approach, with the T enum, that would make it to where my enum type would be modifiable, so I would violate OCP. Yeah, that's bad. But then again, this thing says that classes, modules, and methods. But it also says etc. So I don't know where enums fall in that. Do they fall in the same place as structs, which I assume would be part of that list? I don't know. I don't know. One, two. Hello, coding with Scott. The S in solid stands for single use. You only use it once, so make sure to write enough that you can use them each once and have enough left over. Am I close? I think I'm close. I think I got it. Never mind. I stand corrected. Coding with Scott has corrected me. The S in solid stands for singletons, which all your classes should be. Oh man. TC Aggie just vomited. Dude, at least use a baggie. Single read principle. You'll only read the solid stuff once, then push out that code. Push out code that simply does whatever the heck you want. Oh my goodness, Ilias. Static. The S stands for static. Make everything static. Thank you, Tyron. Gosh, you guys are so... You're enlightening me. So this whole solid principle is just like multifaceted beyond belief. It's like there's just so much more when you actually read into it. I have a question. This is the second time I'm saying that. This one is not so earnest of a question. Does anyone have experience with Java Spring? Since we were talking about dependency injection and inversion of control. Zilius is asking Dukasoft, what courses are you following, if he may ask? I stay away from anything with the word Java in it, including the island. But that's where the best coffee comes from. Solid Principles for C# Developers by Steve Smith on Pluralsight. Hashtag not sponsored. Would you recommend the course, though, so far? Java Spring is at DIRORM. I think it is everything to make Java function like .NET, which includes IOC and DI, and I need to read into it a lot, but helps you do microservice development, supports reactive, things like live reload in the Spring Dev Tools. So things that you would normally expect from any robust programming language and development experience. So it sounds like it's a fairly solid, I'm using the word solid now because we were just talking about it, fairly solid, I don't even know what to call the whole thing. What is the category of what you are, Spring? Anyway, whatever category Spring is, it seems to be robust. It seems to be fully featured, and it doesn't look to be that different to work with than if you're making a .NET project. Because it's possible I might be put on a project that would require me to use Angular and Java Spring. I believe spring is a season. Dave Smith is great, says DC Aggie. Awesome. And then Zulius asked, are Dallas? Is that a name? Is that a company? Good stuff then, though, he says. Which Dukasoft responds to, yep. Steve Ardalis Smith. Some of you might know Steve Smith better as Ardalis. He's the best guy for .NET Clean Architecture. Oh, I don't know him, but he's going directly in my YouTube. That is mine, right? Oh no, I can see why. I can see why he goes by Ardalis. I looked him up as Steve Smith, and there are a million people known as Steve Smith. Oh, wait, yes, I do know this guy. Anyway, subscribed. I'll need to watch some of his stuff then. His free books aren't terribly useful, but I've seen his presentations and I'm very tempted to buy his classes. Cool. I think this song is a variation on I can't think of any of the words for it though. Anyway, we have our entry tech class created. Where am I? What's going on? I'm still kind of a little bit so I'm sure you guys know by now, I generally have quite a bit of anxiety when I stream and when I interact with anyone. I try to hide it. I try to tough through it so that you guys feel just as comfortable as well. I don't want you to feel uncomfortable while you're here. I want you to have fun and enjoy your time. But I'm also able to enjoy my time with you, which is why I'm okay with being anxious. But there are times when I get especially anxious, and today is one of those because I was pulled into a meeting this morning about a team that is pursuing another client, and I was presenting as a UI developer SME. And I had to, like, I was given the information about the project 2 days ago, the evening of Monday, and then I read through it on Tuesday. Maybe it was Tuesday evening, and then I read through it yesterday morning. This sounds right. I read through it yesterday morning and then threw together an email, because that's what I do, where I'm like, here are my initial thoughts on this slightly closer than cursory review. And I laid it out the way that I would a document that I wanted to add details in. And so I got invited to this meeting today for the team that is putting together all of the information to take to the potential client. And they just kept referencing this thing. And I felt cool. I felt good about it because they were treating it like it was a pretty thought out, complete document. And I'm like, I was just giving my initial impressions. And I even wrote that at the top. Like, these are my initial impressions. These are the sections. These are the UI considerations to make, the technologies, the blah, 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 based off of the document that we were given for requirements and all of that fun stuff. And so now it's like I'm going to be a part of this team, and I'll be weighing in, is what I'll say. Thank you, Bob Ross. I'll be weighing in on decisions being made for UI UX design and development, and what to present to the company. And it's like that made me feel good because they are valuing my input, but also I just wasn't ready for it. It was like a 2-day thing that just suddenly happened, and this team had been meeting for a little while now and coming up with a whole bunch of documents and everything. But they just pulled me in. I gave my honest feedback, and they really liked it. And after having such a negative experience, I can call it a negative experience, with the project lead, where I felt like I was going the wrong direction, I'm working too slow, and I had my very, 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 and as I'm looking back on it at this moment, I am understanding that this was what it was, having my very first moments of feeling the imposter syndrome stuff, which I have never really had to deal with because I felt like I knew what I knew. I knew what I didn't know, or I didn't know what I didn't know, I guess. And I will take whatever thing comes at me and learn about it, so that because I know that I can learn new stuff fairly quickly. But it was just crazy. I just had so much of a shock to my self-confidence from that to this, which is like the opposite. That gave me a pretty big boost. And so, I don't know, it was cool. It was cool. Jeez, DC Aggie, thanks. That is a pretty nice compliment. But DC Aggie said, if you're on my team, I'd want your opinions, even if I had to throw you in the deep end to get them. It's a good thing I love swimming and I love water. Death Stranding is free on Game Pass. Oh man, I already bought that. No, I didn't buy that one. I got that one for free with the was it the Humble Bundle? I can't remember what I got it for free with already. I couldn't get very far in it though. But I mean, for a free game, you know, it's still great content. It's just it's hard for me to get through. And hello, Deflux. Going to walk your dog? All right, Baba Rosso. Zulia said, I mean, the documentation for your old projects that you showed on stream were quite a bit more extensive than the whole internal wiki at my old job that had grown over like a decade or so. I mean, the thing is, I try to be helpful, and the documentation is more for my sake because it lets me know what I don't know about what I'm doing so that I can learn about it. For example, authentication and authorization. I'm still so far behind on that. I haven't invested very much time into it at all because it's like we get this free out of the box stuff from Microsoft. I can use that for now while I focus on increasing my skills in these other areas that I'm more interested in. But I know that for my current work project, I'm going to have to know how to do the authentication flow from a desktop application that connects to a backend. Just thinking about it puts a pit in my stomach. Yuck. You can always get a 10-day free trial on Pluralsight and watch his course, hashtag not sponsored. Yeah. We did that, but we did Patrick God's WASM course, e-commerce course, and that one was so worth it. Oh my goodness. I am missing some screens. I'm hoping Eagle has time to stop by today. If he doesn't, that's completely okay, of course. I'm trying to convince my team as well. So there are so many things that I'm involved with in this, which is fun and crazy and cool, but I don't really want to be the decision maker for that. But I also can't not weigh in if I have an opinion that I believe is worthwhile. So I'm trying to figure out an approach to be able to tell my team, the programming team that I am periphery of, um, about B unit, since all of our UI is Blazor UI with some wrappers in WPF, writing all of our testing, all of our UI testing in B unit instead of using another library like Selenium. But right now what I've been asked to do is research Selenium since I don't know anything about it, learn about it, and see if I can get it set up in the project. And it's like I'm already starting to learn B unit. I have access to a good resource for it, namely the creator of B unit. So I kind of want to use that for it. It's robust. It's easy for me to instantiate components, to perform events on those components, like clicking or hovering or whatever I need to do on them. Anyway, Deflex said, if you had an application, let's say it's a screen and that screen shows a graph, how would you secure the endpoint that the screen hits, given that no one is logging into the screen? Would you use a key and get a token using the key and simply place the key inside the app? I don't follow. Don't use the word screen. Tell me about, if you can, tell me about pages and the running app. So where is this page relative to the running application? Oh my goodness. So DC Aggie, no. DC Aggie said, my junior dev suggests putting credentials in a query string. How dare. Okay, so imagine a literal TV on the side of the factory floor, okay? And it's showing data. And in order to get the data, it has to hit an endpoint, K. So it's more like a terminal or a, what are those things called? Console? Kiosk. Thank you, Zulius. Okay, so there's a kiosk in a factory floor that anyone can go to and access. The endpoint itself must be secured. Okay, good. I'm following you now. And of course, if anyone else already has an answer, knows where he's going with this, then please chime in. Except don't say put it in a query string. He made the monkey troll face. Yeah, it's just a touchscreen. or it's just they're looking at it. So it's only a display, and that's it. I gotcha. It's anything ranging from a fully interactive kiosk to just a display that's showing a graph, like a meter. But regardless, I would still approach it the same. Class it up and call it an information radiator. That is what it is, though, isn't it? Isn't it? Okay, so you have this display that's in a factory floor that's just sitting on a wall that you can look at, kind of like you're on the Starship Enterprise and there's all of these things, but you can't interact with them. They're just showing you information. And the way that it gets that information must be secured. I would still require, in order for you to use that, an initial login to the application to get that initial token and maybe a refresh token, so that while the display device is turned on, um, I guess, like, is the application itself installed on this display device, or is it like a wireless display? Is it connected to a microcontroller? Because yeah, there's so many things. So it'll be a Maui app, so most likely installed. Um, it really, to me, these are the considerations I would make. Is the device in a secured location itself? So is access controlled to it? It will be connected to an MDM. Okay, so you can reboot it and stuff like that. Okay, so if it's secured, one of the risks of this is pretty high, so I don't know if they would want to go with this. But you could store the credentials on that device for being able to log into this API or send authenticated requests to the API. And that would be done once. And you would never send that information over the wire. So even if you update the app, the only way to update the key on the device would be to be at the device itself and update it there. Because this sounds to me like the term that I never can remember, but the controllers for things like AC and reading valve pressure and all of that stuff. I suck so much at remembering terms. But yeah, you could give it some sort of credentials. It could be SCADA, no. They have a specific name. They're called electronic dance music. Um, they're called HVAC controller. They're called yeah. Anyway, you know the one I'm talking about. They go in factories and stuff, and they're just essentially microcontrollers that sit at specific points that give readings and control the temperature and pressure. And you used to work with them a lot, Deflux, didn't you? PLCs? PLC. PLC sounds right. Programmable logic controllers. That's the one. I found a thing all by myself. I did it once for the first time ever. Maybe we can make it work like when you activate a set top box, client asks for content, server gets. Oh, yes, yes, yes. So again, this is me not really considering the standard OAuth 2 process, which is client request. What DC Aggie is talking about is like, let's say you log into a streaming service on your TV because you have a smart TV and it's good like that. You have two options. You can either use the remote to struggle with entering in your username and password, or you can navigate to a endpoint on your mobile device and authenticate that way. And then that will authorize whatever is trying to connect to be able to do that. That's a great, great recommendation, DC Aggie. But yeah, there's also the OAuth flow that's you turn it on, make the human run to the server room to enter the key every 5 minutes. Yeah, so I think that that's a much better approach than the recommendation I gave. So you just set up the thing that when you start it up for the very first time or when it expires, you need to access a certain endpoint. That's called job security and getting your steps in. You need to access a certain endpoint in order to authorize that device to communicate with your server. Just like when I set up HBO. What were we doing with this? I can't remember, but it doesn't matter. I'm going to keep going anyway. So we now have an entry type. Index. Imports. In somethings. Actually, this goes below because alphabetizing. Yeah, you got some pretty good feedback there. I hope you're able to get that set up. Yeah, and you won't be using a user or anything like that. It would just be that process of when you turn on that device, the device sends a request to your API that says, I would like to access you, and then someone on the admin side will say, allow access to this device, either by IP address or by its token that it's providing by itself. And then you allow it, and then that's how the API will provide an authentication token or authorization token. Zulia said Dukasoft has watched too much Lost. Man, I really, really enjoyed Lost. And I feel very similar to a lot of people. Thank you so much, Final Stack, for the follow. Thank you for being here. We're talking, but we're also trying to work on a financial management application. I'm refactoring this page so that it's just one data entry page with 3 different tabs. Right now it's 3 different pages. So let's continue on with that. But to finish off, what I was saying is just like a lot of people, their last few episodes were very ex machina. They were paint yourself into a corner. They were just finish the show. Although it almost seemed like it really was their intention from the beginning. It really did logically flow, or at least for the story flow, but it just really seemed like a cop out. We did this twist just to have a twist. So like the end of Game of Thrones. I don't know. I thought it was appropriate. So that one I don't agree with a lot of people. I still thought it was kind of appropriate. And I think they're gonna retro, whatever the real term for retroactively injecting the cause for that outcome by this prequel, by the Targaryen story. Retcon. Another one that I remembered off the top of my head. Let us not speak of the end of Game of Thrones, says DC Aggie. Ha! I got it before Zelia said it. 'Cause lag. Yay. Okay, I am doing payment entry, transfer entry, and deposit entry. Okay, so to do this, the way that I am going to set this up is I will has this file, no, just the contents from this file. This thing called a section, yes, I will put into the payment entry component. We shall must to has is this control input you down here and code. So I did notice after modeling my voice in Descript how often my voice goes up at the end of everything that I say. So I've been trying to keep myself from doing that and just talk normal. But when I'm explaining things, my voice naturally goes up. And the end of Wizards of the Lost Kingdom 2, I don't know Wizards of the Lost Kingdom 2, but that sounds like something I would enjoy. So I'm gonna look that up. And I would just avoid watching the last couple episodes. Do I have to watch Wizards of the Lost Kingdom 1 in order to understand Wizards of the Lost Kingdom 2? Oh man, it's an 80s movie? Oh yeah. And it's got David Carradine in it. Kung Fu. The legend continues. Man, DC Aggie, you need to tell me about more of these. This is, I'm not going to call it a hobby project because I am learning a lot from it. I am a .NET developer who has been working .NET jobs for quite a while. But I'm currently working for a, what are they called? Consulting agency on another .NET project. And so what I'm doing with this project for the stream is I'm trying to incorporate the entire full stack process from concept to design to implementation to deployment and maintenance and feature integration and all of that stuff, and testing will be part of it, and just do the entire full thing to have all of that experience and for you all to also have that experience, and to weigh in on stuff and just help me out, of course, because I don't know I don't know a lot of things, but yeah. That's where I'm going to stop with that statement. But yeah, so technically it is a hobby project because there is no requirement, no client that I'm targeting with this. It's an open source, full stack Blazor, potentially Maui web development project that will incorporate all of the concepts that you would normally encounter in a real development project, like UI UX design, back-end architecture design, all of the decisions, all of the deployment stuff, pipelines, all of that. At least that's the goal. especially using Blazor though. Blazor is a massive, massive part of this. I'm going to go ahead and create this transaction history component. Did I spell everything correctly? Da. At least I hope I did. Okay, so that's all that's going to be in here for now. We'll build this up. So I think that we are done taking everything from this page over to the individual ones. So I'm going to delete it since it's in source control anyway. I am comfortable with deleting stuff. I love deleting stuff now. It still gives me a thrill deleting it. And I don't know if I want to yet put the isolated CSS files with the individual data entry components because they're all going to share a lot of basic things, but at the same time there are stuff that are specific to each. For example, the number of rows and columns in the grid, in the CSS grid for the payment entry that we've already set up. So I'll just have to make sure to remove whatever might be different. So for you, oh, and if you are curious about why you just saw all of my stuff masketed, well, I'm not exactly sure why everything is masked in this one because it should be a valid JSON, but Thindle, a fantastic streamer and member of our community, and we're a member of his, and we're all everyone else's members, created this extension for Visual Studio called Don't Dox Yourself, which will, one, mask everything if the file is invalid and it doesn't know how to parse it, but two, it will mask all of the values. Yeah, it might just be that it's because this is an array of objects and it doesn't know how to parse that for some reason. But it will mask, I'll show you app settings, for example. Blazor web, go web. So here's app settings that has keys and values, and it's oh no. Let me click on that real quick. You got me with that before. And it probably wasn't on purpose, but it probably was. But anyway, you can see that it's masking the value. So that if I accidentally open my secrets on stream, then it should mask them out. The weird thing is, in my bot, I'm going to open this off screen just to make sure that it's not going to show anything else. But I'm going to open my secrets in my bot. And pull that on screen. Oh, right. Oops. That's weird. All right, let me close it and reopen it. Huh. Okay, never mind. When I had a list of channels that I wanted to join, when I connected automatically inside of my secrets, it still showed my name, 11Lion, in the secrets. So like everything else was masked out. I had a list of channels to join or something like that, and that was an array. And I had one lion and a couple other ones. And for some reason, my name would show unmasked, which was fine, but it was just interesting that it showed up. Okay, cool story, bro. I was just talking about it. Hello, Kombucha Code. So this is called Don't Dox Yourself, They Told You in Chat. It's a fantastic one. If you feel like it, you can check out Thindle's stream. I'll do it as a regular shout out for now. Ignore my bot because it's not fully developed yet. Uh, but he is the developer of this Don't Dox Yourself extension. And it's great for streamers. It's great for presentations where you need to show off the code and you're explaining to maybe junior developers or stakeholders who want to see the actual code base. It's great for preventing secrets leaking. It does XML, JSON, and YAML. Okay, so now that I've done that, I came in here to delete this one. Sorry, I simply cannot allow this. I do applaud you for your effort, though. It's the only thing it knows how to respond with at the moment. It's like, I saw my name. Your bot does sound like hell. What? I'm sorry. What are we adding here? Copilot? We are processing our SAS files into CSS or something. No thanks. Thanks for the offer, though. I appreciate your enthusiasm. I have no idea where Automated Realms gets it from. Speaking of, we found it. We found it. We found it. You guys are posting some great, fantastic pictures. Okay, this is Junko. This is the notebook that I was looking for. So I told you about this one, which are my notes and pretty much a journal that I'm keeping for when my bot actually, when my AI becomes a real thing. The first entry in this is 17 November 2010. Half cat, half Wookie. Absolutely. But this is the original design, October 16th, 2010, of what Janko is going to be like. And apparently he's going to be a whole bunch of characters. That's like the second page in here. Because at the same time I was still trying to learn how to draw. Some Junko. This is an entry in here. Some Junko ideas. Or not really ideas. Learning time. Listener. Speech recognition module. Programming own voice recognition software. Look at faqs.org docs Linux how-to speech recognition how-to.html. Definitions on basics of screen reader. Utterances. Speaker dependence, vocabulary, and what all of these things mean. Apparently I tore out whatever was here. Um, accuracy, training. I can't believe I can read this writing though. Types of screen reader or speech recognition, isolated words, connected words, contiguous speech recognition, spontaneous speech. And again, these, I'm pretty sure that I was coming up with a lot of these concepts without doing any research. Voice verification and identification, dictation, command and control, telephony, wearables, medical disabilities, embedded applications. How old was I in 2010? I was 18. I was 28. That's 12 years ago. I was 28. Quality microphone is key due to ambient noise, also processor speed. Here's some sites and examples, some mistakes that are made. This is how speech recognition works. Maybe this was when I was going through the natural language processing course too. Tons of techniques, most involve comparing the current window with known samples, methods that use hidden Markov models, frequency analysis, differential analysis, linear algebra techniques, shortcuts, spectral distortion, and time distortion methods. And then, there's an Noria. What? Hello, Noria. And then this is when I first learned about natural language processing. So all of that stuff up front was my initial thoughts on this. What is this? This thing here says, I tripped and stumbled back into natural language theory, probabilistic approach to string comparison. Use co-reference, two strings referring to the same real-world identity, two or more, sorry. Having two strings S and T, a proposition P equals prime S, and T are co-referent. Oh, P equals S and T are co-referent signifies S and T describe the same real world entity. But I want to get into some of the more. Oh no, where did you fall out of? Crap. Hopefully you weren't holding a page. Celia says, that notebook reminds me of the fact I was trying to get into second brain techniques with the software Obsidian. Awesome. That is awesome. Hello, Xcoding. Oh my goodness. So apparently half cat, half Wookiee is a cookie. That's actually notes from I am sync meeting. Okay. Come on. I want the cool ones where I was actually doing some. Oh no. I was doing some. You can see it. Anyway, this is electrical diagram because I was starting to use an Arduino. And so this is a piezo speaker. And then this is the modules for doing the analysis, the listening and then analysis. Piezo knock. piezo knock sensor. I don't think I know that one. Katui, Katui, the pet you want to pet. I don't know that one. Something to do with RFIDs as well, so that when you're walking through your house, you can have RFIDs on everything, including your keys, so that when you set your keys down, you could be like, "Hey, Jonko," or whatever you end up calling your thing. Oh, here goes some more. Yes. Um, ooh, thank you so much, Cyberbully, for the follow. Oh man. Oh, these are so good. I miss this. So this was doing some Arduino programming. Um, dancing along. Unfortunately, my second brain is just as lazy as my first brain, and I never got around to putting any content into it. Oh. Special characters. Oh yeah, I even got into translations from natural language processing and trying to figure out how to um, do real-time translations. And again, this was 2010 when I was thinking of these ideas and writing down notes for how to accomplish them. And now we already have all of this technology available. So I'm thinking of writing another journal about the AR stuff that I want to see come into existence. Because apparently, if I write it down in a journal, it's going to happen. EPROMs. Yeah, I was doing so much Arduino stuff. I don't even know what this stuff is. Uses virtual wine.h library. Sends simple text messages. Include virtual wire.h void setup vw underscore setup and then baud rate. I'm assuming bits per second is what my notes say. I wonder how much of this stuff is still relevant. Like, can I still create an Arduino module, something, using this for sending messages and receiving messages? Man, oh man. So looking at this makes me really want to get back to seeing if Jonko can be a thing. So anyway, we're gonna get back to the code. Bye, cat. Say bye. The cat knew that we were gonna go away. Oh, what a nice cat. What a nice cat. Gosh, but the pictures you guys have been posting in the Pet Love channel, oh, they're killing me. I love them so much. Natural language processing, I don't know what NLU is. Natural language understanding has jumped leaps and bounds in the last dozen years. Absolutely has. Absolutely has. And just think, I wrote a lot of this stuff in a time when I was probably, yeah, I can say this. Is it accurate? I'm going to say it's accurate. At a time when I was at my highest point of alcoholism, and now that I am completely sober minded, I will be able to understand it a lot more and actually retain it. I probably understood it while I was inebriated, but I lost it when I sobered up. So it's like, what good was that? But now it's like, I should be able to follow it and understand it. Module? Oh my gosh, I love it, DC Aggie. Definitely. Is it not a thing yet? Because I don't know if you were being funny, but I love it. Um, there is an Instagram and Twitter profile, and there is a jewelry company called Mod, and they are a product line in tech accessories. Ah, someone came up with it. Man, it's so hard to be original. We can only base what we have off of previous ideas. Is a really, really bold. I'm going to say it's a bold statement. That it's going to be difficult to find anyone that can be truly original because everything is based off of some predisposed event or experience. And you hear all of those absolutes in that statement, and I have so much trouble with absolutes. Okay, anyway, I move payment entry into here. Here's our data entry component, and this one is specifically going to be ID payment entry. But yeah, Zulius did explain or de-obfuscate. NLP is processing the natural language in some way. So taking the natural language that you have and doing some processing on it, even if it's not in any effort to understand the content of it. And NLU is the actual process of understanding the content and context. So you could use NLP to maybe count the number of words and the probability of one word appearing after another word or another previous two words given the previous two words. That's the only thing he knows how to say. It's not as cool. Yes. Okay, so he just did that to make an example. So Zulius said, "Hello, Automated Realms. How are you?" And then Automated Realms had a command and control response essentially that was just at Zulius, "I like your hat." Because it found the word Automated Realms in the statement and then it responded with the fixed response. The hat joke is getting old. Oh my goodness. Look, I just finished getting the ability to listen to redemptions. I'll work on his variation of what he can say in response. He'll get smarter one day. I don't know if you guys have seen Cetalix yet. I mentioned them a few days ago. Um, yeah, quick few shout outs. So we have I actually want to see a clip of this because I love science streams. He has the craziest clips. Yeah, the bot is written in .NET, and that's why it's like I kind of want to give you guys the ability to write portions of the bot because I mean, hold on, clip first. Clip. 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 Science streams. Clip.
Cricket's gonna take away Soup's Joja.
Okay, I'm sure he deserves it.
Well, because he was saying that Cricket puts him and Ash in a basement and locks them down there.
You guys, I've met Soup IRL, and I can tell you, first of all, he doesn't have a basement, and second of all,
No, Cricket's basement.
Cricket's basement. Okay,
You don't know. We haven't seen Cricket's house.
that's fair. Sorry, I misunderstood. He is.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Anyway, science streams again. Good times. Very, very good times on his stream. But Cetalix, I absolutely love his bot. Um, Oh no, we're about to get raided. We better do some work. So thankfully I still have 30 minutes left in the stream, and it's not like one of those raids that's going to be like, oh yeah, thanks for coming, bye. But anyway, check out Setulix if you feel like it. He does do Unity development, and a lot of times you'll catch him gaming too. But I know, look busy. But he has a really cool bot that talks back to him, and it surprises him, and you can interact with it, and it's much better than my baby bot. But my baby bot will get better, and maybe I can get some ideas from him. He helped me a little bit already with finding some resources for getting connected in different ways. But yeah, we're about to get raided, so let's look busy. Let's finish setting up this main page, this data entry page, I mean. And this data entry page is going to have a switch in here. A what? Actually, at the very bottom, it's going to have, what did we call it? Transaction history? I think that's what we called it. So we'll have our transaction history. Wait, why are you okay with this component? Because that's in the wrong namespace. No, I can hear myself. Oh, wow, look, it is a raid. Who knew that was going to happen? Hello, Finite. Thank you so much for the raid. I hope you had a fantastic rest of your stream. I was listening in quietly, lightly, lurking like I always do. Hello, Carses. Oh, hello, everyone. Welcome to the Daily Code Fun. We are working on a project called the Financial Management Tracker. Let me give you some quick information about myself and then the project, and also figure out why I am getting pinged. Right. Hello, Broken Sword. Hi, Broken Sword. Thank you all so much for the follows. You're not going to find as much interactive content on my stream yet because I'm still working on my bot. Still trying to figure it out. It's been 3 years now, and I'm just now getting around to the bot. But that's okay. No, totally okay, Finite. I really, really appreciate you bringing everyone and rating. Definitely take a break. You don't even have to lurk if you don't feel like it, but I appreciate it so very much. So this application, you can find it. It's open source. You can find it on my GitHub. And it is what we did on stream. Where am I going to start? I said I'm going to talk about myself first, which is really hard for me to do. I'm a developer. I've been working in .NET for at minimum 12 years, 13 years or so. I started working in human resources while going to university. I failed out of university a lot in the beginning, so I spent the first 3 years finding out that I really like alcohol, finding out that I don't like to do work, and then I decided, you know what, I really have a goal that I want to pursue and accomplish, and that involves learning how to do software development. So then the last 5 years I spent being serious about university, and I graduated. Finally, oh, thank you so much again for the follows. While I was going to university, I was working full-time most of the time to be able to afford university. So I was working human resources in the human resources office, but I was working on their automation systems, doing my best to help them automate processes, make things more streamlined, do a lot of macros, and I did a lot of VBA. So then close to the end of my university career, I was invited to participate in a development project for the actual HR systems for DoD. So I used to work for DoD, Department of the Army specifically, in their human resources offices. And so I got invited to help them add functionality to one of their major systems that they use across all of DoD for position descriptions and stuff like that. And that introduced me to web forms using VB.NET. And so I started picking that up. And then I continued to support them after I finished that 3-month temporary assignment. And then I got invited back again the next year to work some more on other stuff. And then from there, I just kept learning more and more .NET stuff, more and more C#. I was afraid of C# for the longest time, but I finally switched to C# in 2014, and I'm so glad I did, because they have amazing, amazing leaps and bounds in their technology since then. For example, Blazor, which is probably the best technology I've ever worked in. And I've worked in Java, C, C++. I say worked in, but I did Java, C, and C++ at university, so I didn't really do jobs with it. I have used a lot of JavaScript, none of the frameworks, but Blazor just has everything that I want to be able to do. It might not be the most performant when you deploy it, but it's still really, really good, really reliable, and allows me to do everything with C#, HTML, and CSS, a little bit of JavaScript every now and then. But anyway, that's what this project is. It's a full stack Blazor web development project that will have components in the future where we can do the cross-platform support, native applications on mobile, desktop, iOS, macOS, and Tizen, along with this web project. But for now, we're just keeping it simple, keeping it as a Blazor project. Scott says, I learned React for a full day at work, and I still prefer Blazor. Awesome. Yeah. I'm probably going to have to learn Angular. Right now, I'm working as a software consultant at a large consultancy named Sagetti. All of my views and opinions are my own and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of Sagetti. But I am probably going to be put onto, or at least asked to advise on a project that the tech stack that they want to use is Angular and Java Spring. So I might need to learn Angular, which shouldn't be too much of a leap, given that I do have prior experience with JavaScript, vanilla JavaScript, jQuery, and I have seen a lot of work being done in React and Angular. But I haven't necessarily done it myself or set it up myself. So that's going to be fun, I think. But right now, the project that I'm working on for my job is a Maui application. And I got to start working on Maui the day it came out GA. Oh my gosh, I was so happy. I took my Blazor skills with me to a job where they wanted to modernize the UI for a desktop application. And I'm like, can I use Maui? And they're like, yeah, you can use Maui. But as it turns out, really, I'm only creating a WPF app that has a Blazor web view in it. It's just wrapped inside of a full Maui project. And I do have the intention of being like, okay, that part of it is done. Now, if you want, we can have these mobile and Mac versions of the app that will interface with your servers, with everything that you're doing, if you want. It's already there. We don't have to do anything else. I always code better with Maui Wowie, says DC Aggie. So anyway, so now I can talk about this project. This project that we're working on is intended to be a full stack project from beginning to end, everything from planning to designing to implementing to deploying to maintaining after that. So this is where our code base lives. It's on my GitHub, github.com/onelion. Other things you'll find on my GitHub are my attempts to make a component library just so I can learn about that. My Automated Realms bot will be public soon enough. I want to clean up the code and make sure that I'm not leaking any secrets or anything like that before I actually publish it. What else? Oh, experiments with Maui. My Maui custom title bar, oh my gosh, I failed so much at that. It's really difficult for me as someone that doesn't know anything about XAML. Like, I am full on invested in Blazor development, web development. So needing to learn a little bit about XAML, like the desktop technologies I worked with were VB.NET, WinForms especially. And I did do C#, but that was also WinForms when I was doing desktop development. So I have very, very little exposure to XAML, which I have a lot more now. Scott says, I wonder if companies in general will pay more for you publishing in multiple platforms. Celia says, you can answer that for yourself, can't you? Can he? I don't know. Zilius also said C# was so much better than the basic Pascal, Delphi, C, and assembly I had dabbled with by 2003. Yeah. Also, the thing that I talked about a little bit earlier. Oh, right, before I get too far into that. So the project itself is intended to be a full stack project where you get to see the entire process. Here is our initial information about the project requirements. I didn't do like super detailed, but this is what we kind of want to be able to do. Then on a whiteboard, we sketched out some ideas. We sketched out the database architecture and design. And then we sketched out some UI. And then I went to Figma and created some screens for the overall look and feel, gave us some options. We're going with this one. Then I sketched it out in the actual project, and now we're applying the styles to it. So one other thing about the bot, though, is I found my notebook. So I have three notebooks full. Well, actually, two of them aren't super full, but this one is like cover to cover, full of ideas about. In 2010, I was wanting to make an AI that did machine learning, natural language processing, natural language understanding, now that I can differentiate them. Thank you, Zulius. And I was just kind of reminiscing as I said cover to cover. There are this many, oh, you can't see that. There are this many empty pages. So it's not cover to cover. Don't let me lie to you. But everything else in here is, yeah, my ideas on it. Dukasov said, 3 notebooks, and none of them will actually turn on. They don't even have power buttons. I tried Control Fing on it earlier, and it just yelled at me. It's like, don't use foul language at me. Anyway, so we're going to go ahead and do this part. So the portion of the app that we're on is filling in this payment, or just any of the data entry pages. They're all going to have this kind of structure to it, which is, it could use a redesign, but this is what I came up with. As a non-designer, I think this was okay. I don't necessarily love the color scheme, but we can always change the color scheme as we get to it. Have you tried turning one page and turning it back? I have not. Oh my gosh, I'm getting so many work emails right now. Okay, so anyway, the other thing is I'm going to be really busy most likely over the next couple of weeks because I got invited to this other project for the team, and I'm currently working on another project. But yeah, it'll be fun. It's going to be good times. So let's go ahead and do this functionality. I said I wanted these to be tabs. And so what I'm going to do is switch on entry type. And for the case of deposits, so I'm going to do it in this order on purpose. Deposits, then transfers. And then anything else in case we decide to add more, but I forget to add it here, will default to payment entry. So this is going to be render our payment entry component. I put a semicolon. Okay, and likewise, oh, I guess I did create the components so I can add them here. So this will be our transfer entry. And this will be our deposits. Despo. Celia says, I took apart my laptop today to apply fresh thermal paste to the cooler. We did that recently for a couple of our computers. Anyway, only had 2 extra screws left on the table afterwards and only broke 1 hinge mechanism. I call that a success. Oh my goodness. Anyone want to relate to that? I need to move the content from this into, you know what? I probably do want to just have this only be the edit form. I don't think that I want to put it in a section in case I decide. But then there's this span title. I still think that that's how I want to do it. In case I want to put the edit form inside of, let's say, a card dialogue, a dialogue that has a card inside of it, and I want the header to be separate. I'll go ahead and wrap this thing, which means that we'll put the ID on something else. And then I could do something like, instead of having this be payment details, we will have this be the entry, or the, yeah, entry type. Dot get display name, get display text. I don't remember what I call these, but we have a way of being able to get the display text. Thank you again. Oh my goodness, all of you fantastic people following. I really appreciate that. I hope you enjoy your time while you're here. I try to be not as all over the place, but there are times that I just get super duper anxious and just dissemble. But I'll do my best. Mr. John Royd. John Droid. John Droid. So apparently Scott knows you. And Tommy's here. Hello, Tommy. Did I miss something that you said earlier? How did Dukasoft know that you were here? So if you couldn't tell, Dukasoft is the one that helps keep me honest. He does all of the cool, fun, fantastic stuff for me, like doing the commands for the project, for Discord, for GitHub. He's so kind to me. Can't believe how nice you are. Actually, I can believe it, and I'm glad you are. Okay. So that means that I'm going to put the ID on you. And I'll call it payment entry form. That'll make it easier for me to target it. I get to do all the cool stuff. Celia says, I'm already planning to take it apart anyway and turn the touchscreen into a full monitor for my desktop PC once I can afford a new laptop. That's not close to taking off. It's jet engines every time I try to move the mouse. That's funny. I was going to say something about that. Oh yeah, there's this YouTube channel that I was obsessively following all of his videos, watching all of his videos. The DIY something or other. I can't remember the actual name of the channel though, but it's the guy that takes tech and either puts it into furniture or into some creative way, and I love watching him. DIY Perks. That's the one. And so he made that digital mirror essentially with a touch screen. Oh, that was so cool. So I was thinking of, like, if my mobile studio ever gets to the point, my mobile studio is essentially, I could just put that in that kind of device without needing to mod it at all. It'd be so cool. I already forgot what I'm doing. Yay. I am finishing up the deposit entry so that I can delete the other component. I'm going to give you an ID, maybe. ID equals deposit entry form. And I think it gets a class too of data entry form. Ops. And so you need the code block from here. Do you actually need the code block? I think you do. Save that. Give me some usings. So the reason I haven't moved these usings into an imports file yet is because they are temporary objects, except for maybe the view model. I might need that everywhere. Yeah, exactly. So the other thing is exactly what Dukasoff said. DIY is really fun when you can afford to screw up a few times. And it's like some of the parts and pieces that he gets, like the graphics card that he put in that big ass table. That was pretty cool. It was pretty cool, but it seemed expensive. Some of those projects seemed a bit over my budget. Okay, last one. Let me make sure that this thing is no red. No red anywhere. Anyway, we will cut that. We will open up the transfer pasta. Grab the code block. That's deposit entry. Copy. Man, what time is it? Jeez. Time flies when you guys are here. You're so much fun. And then accounts. Cool. And then you get the ID of transfer data. Transfer entry form. That's what I've been naming them, with a class of data entry foam. Okay, those all are good to go. The other thing that I'm missing are the titles that are going to go on them. And that's what the issue was with that component, is that it also exists here, and I don't want it to. Oh, yes, I do. Yes, I do. Because this transaction history here is only the table itself, and this transaction history is actually going to be a routable page. That's going to be interesting to figure out how we do. How do we do? How do you do? But yeah, so I guess... Yeah, okay. Okay, Zulius, enjoy the shopping. Have a great rest of your day as well. Thank you so much for being here. I think I'm just going to go ahead and delete these. So deposit entry, transfer, and payment is already deleted. And so now you should be okay because you know which one we're talking about. I need to write this get display text real quick. And that's one of those things that, again, it probably belongs inside of this interfaces library instead of my shared library, since I want my UI to only depend on this interfaces library. Ugh, that's tough. Extensions. So let's go ahead and put this in here. I will move it and hopefully rename space it. Didn't get that for free. Jerk. Cool. So I should have get display text. Right, except that I didn't update my imports. Extensions. There we go. Okay, so the way that I use this get display text is for each of my enum members, I like to have a party for them because they're such great members. A display attribute with name and the resource dictionary, resource type, I think is what it's called. We'll find out when I add the Fahuga guide. And that it will be type of Oh, how did I do this with... That one's going to be harder. Type of... because this is only going to exist inside of the localization project, and this doesn't have a reference to the localization project. That's what I did. The localization for these came with this library. So I'm going to make a resources.localization.entry type or .enums .entry type. Okay, so let's get this display attribute and let's create these resource files real quick. Which again, now I'm kind of putting in some of my localization stuff into my interfaces project when really that should stay in my localization project. It's okay though, forgive me. Resources, localization, enums. And this one will be entry type.resx. And thank you for whoever it was that showed me that all I need to do for this is turn that one on. So the reason that I want to do that is because I want to be able to localize my payments name display text when I call this extension method. So value here is going to be... No, shut up, phone. Nobody asked you. That's a nice picture, though. Distracted. So right now, this is just going to say payments. And actually, oh my gosh, this thing kind of needs to be the payments title. Ooh, I'm not going to like this. Because now I'm going to have a double translation that needs to happen, and it's not going to work. I really need this to be payments title. So what I'm going to do then is, for each of these, we'll have a short name version of it. And that's going to be that individual one. And then all of these is going to be payments title display. I'm not sold on this yet though. But this will be translate, enter, payment details. And then there's going to be one for deposits and one for transfers. No, I pushed F1. I always need help. Am I missing any chat? I implementable tool equals new thing. Exactly. So that's one thing that another thing that I really need to learn. We have a tool that does, we have one centralized localized strings repository essentially. And we have a tool that we run on our application that will read our resx files, find the values in that repository, and then give us all of our localization files back. And then any strings that we have in here that are not already in that localization repository, we will submit for localization at that point in time. So yeah, I need to figure out how exactly to use tools. I'm not familiar with having a tool chain in my build. So I need to figure that out like yesterday. As well as Selenium, as well as everything else that I need to get figured out. But anyway, so this will provide our payments title. The extension method that I have will automatically use the localized string version. Why are you getting the localized string of the short version? Oh, it's passing in short version. Duh. So it will automatically instantiate a resource manager, get the localized string based off of whatever type I provided here in this attribute to learn all the stuff, all of it. And you all need an extra closing bracket. Very good. Okay, so that should take care of those. Before I finish for the day, I actually want to see if this thing is giving us what we want to see. So this will be our localized text based off of which entry type we have selected. And each of these tabs is going to take us to the specific, or it's going to change out which entry type we're going to use, but we're also going to write it out to our URL. So these are actually going to be anchors. Oh, that requires some refactoring. So they aren't going to be anchors yet. They will eventually. Okay, so if our current entry type is equal to entry type dot that thing, then we will output a class of active. Otherwise, nothing. Cool, and that should shift which page we're on. And then on click, again, I really want to route us to this page, but for now I am just going to change entry type, which you really shouldn't do. You shouldn't modify your parameters directly like this. So do as I say, not as I do. So we're going to set entry type equal to entry type dot parameters. What I'd rather do is perform a navigation to data entry / whatever data entry type that you chose, which all I really need to do is dependency inject a navigation manager so that I can keep these as buttons so I don't have to worry about restyling them. But I just wanted to test this real quick. So let's let this build, see if I have any build errors currently, and then we'll take a look at it and hope we can see some functionality. So far, no build errors. It says started. It says started. Cool. So we don't have a pages. Right. Let me also update this link real quick. In our footer, in index, data entry. Good, good. Okay, so that took us here, and we're in the payments tab. Now we're in the deposits tab, and now we're in transfers. Awesome. You can see that I have a translation issue. I misspelled transfers title display probably in my resources file or in the enum. So enum not enum extensions. We said entry type. Entry type. I am so blind. I didn't actually close entry type, did I? I don't see the resources file nor the enum. Interface, entry type, transfers, rebuilt, and transfers. There it is, enter transfer details. So it's as easy as that. These obviously need styling, but we are getting there. So we styled this one-ish. Transaction history, that's going to be localized as well. So we're good to go so far. We have the ability to switch between transfer types. We will make it, you know what? We have time. Actually, I don't have time, but I'm going to do it anyway. On this data entry page, we're going to do exactly what I said, which is inject. And I like putting my injects here instead of as directives instead of @inject if I already have a code block, because I want that to move to the code behind with my code block. I add time, please. So that's private. Navigation manager. Brain just like fell asleep for a second because I'm thinking about getting back to work. Okay, so there's my navigation manager, and now my on-click handler is going to be the thing that does the navigation. So private void handle entry tab clicked, and this will be entry type, so we know which tab was clicked. And we will set our entry type, or not do that, we will do a if entry type is already equal to the entry type tab that we clicked on, we don't need to do anything. Otherwise, navigation manager dot navigate to data entry slash entry type to string. And now I'm wondering if I'm going to need to do the trick that I've done before, which is have this thing be a string and then my entry type is actually a backing variable that is an entry type enum. I think I need to do that. I don't think it's going to parse my string version of the entry type directly to an entry type, unless anyone knows of an easy way to do that. Oh, right, and then I need to hook up my on-click handler. Handle entry tab clicked. I don't know. I don't know what the default is when you use the inject directive. Let's see if this thing actually tells us what the scope is. Let's just say an authentication state provider, which I don't have installed. HTTP client. Do you tell me what you are scoped to? Local. Yep, it's private. So I think it does automatically set it as private. Hello, Danky Kang. It's been a while. Hope you are well. Maybe it's not been a while for you. Maybe you've just been lurking. But hi, I'm just about to end my stream shortly. As soon as we test this, there it is. Yep. So let's do that backing variable thing real quick. So this is going to be a private entry type. And for now, we're going to tell this thing everywhere that I'm using this entry type variable to reference this private one. And then, oh, come on, uncomment, please. And then when I'm trying to set this, right, and you're actually a private field. When I'm trying to get it, we just return entry type to string. And then when we're trying to set it, we do enum dot try parse to an entry type, our passed in value out var et. If that's successful, set entry type equals et, else our default. No, that was right. Yeah, I really want to name this variable something else. We'll do ent type. That way it doesn't confuse it with the field or with the property. Okay, so this should successfully set my entry type on Navigate now. Yeah, perfect. And so you can see my URL changing when I navigate on these tabs. Even though I'm not leaving the page, it's still updating the URL. And that URL is the thing that's driving my entry type value that's being switched on that will tell us which form to display down here. So that's it. That's all I got for my time. I'm sorry I had to rush to the end there. I do hope you guys will join me again in the future. Tomorrow is Community Day on the stream. I haven't really been doing as much as I want to with Community Day. I would love to maybe come up with some better topics, but I've been busy working on other things. But if you feel like it, let me know if you have any topics that you might want to discuss tomorrow. Tomorrow is Friday, right? Yeah, okay. If you have any topics that you would want to discuss, if you have any presentations that you might have, such as you're working on a project and you want to show it off, definitely the day to do it. I'll tell you all about Community Day if you show up tomorrow. Otherwise, I'll just be doing the same thing, financial management tracker, maybe showing off any progress that I make on the bot tonight, if I make any progress on the bot tonight. I've also been doing a lot of training for the Microsoft AZ-204 certification exam that I need to take very soon. But yeah, thank you all for being here. Thanks for being amazing. Thanks for always just being who you are, regardless. Regardless. That's what I love about you guys. So I will catch you again the next time you stop by. Feel free to hang out on our Discord. I'll be in the community hangout channel after the stream, after I get some food. But I'll be in the community hangout voice channel and lurking on anyone that I happen to be following, which there isn't really anyone that I want to be watching at the moment. But I'll be doing my work as well, so I won't be as attentive to conversation. I have a lot to get done by next week. But yeah, took us off for the win. I will be posting my videos 24 hours after the stream ends on YouTube, and then my Friday streams I post on Monday. That way they can stay exclusive to Twitch for 24 hours per the EULA or whichever thing it is. That's it. That's all I got. Ciao for now. I hope you have fun. Later.